to A Case of the Jills. So yesterday was a thing, it was a day, it was a thing. It was my first day of classes at Harvard, and I got lost on the way to my class because that's what you do on your first day. I also got a pimple because that's what you do on your first day. I remember being a freshman back 800 years ago. I just never took things as seriously as I take them now. I know part of that is age and part of that is just let's call it increased gratitude. I really felt like I was unable to contain my enthusiasm and my excitement. In fact, as I mentioned, my dad gave me a loan to be able to take the first 3 classes for this program. And I was sitting there in the class and just tearing up completely in the first 5 minutes, and I just was like, I was just overwhelmed with emotion. I really was. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to my parents for helping me out with this endeavor. I'm, thankful to my boyfriend for being such a huge support to me. And honestly, I am so thankful to all of you. The outpouring of remarks on messages everywhere, email, Facebook, messages on Instagram. And so many of you have reached out to me to send me words of encouragement and tell me that you're excited for me and proud for me, and it's amazing, and I just want to thank you so much for that. So yeah, if you checked out my Instagram stories, you would see that my first class is statistics. It is an intermediate statistics class. I did have to take statistics in undergrad because I was a psychology major at Boston College, but it's been 20 years. And my statistics professor in undergrad was such a mega nerd that he could not deal with the fact that, it was just, the class was all girls and we were all like such bitches because he was such a jerk, and we just overwhelmed him with estrogen like every day, and he just could not handle it. So I don't have the best memories of that statistics class, and I don't really remember much of it, but I have been studying up and trying to catch, tutorials on YouTube and everywhere else I can find stuff. Oh, hey, if anyone is studying statistics right now and wants to give me some good resources or good websites or good videos either here on YouTube or elsewhere that might be a great review, just leave the comment below. I can use it. Of course, I'm trying to do this differently than I may have in the past, and I'm trying not to put all this crazy amount of pressure on myself. I am trying to just enjoy it and again feel all that gratitude and just know that I'm totally on the right path. I'm 100% sure of that, and now all I have to do is just nail this class. Why would anyone go back to school at my age? I guess it's due to my high pain tolerance. How's that for a segue? Actually, today's video is about pain tolerance. The topic of tolerance for pain and having a high pain tolerance is something that I've always been interested in. I've been interested in it because people have commented to me about my having a high pain tolerance before I ever really understood or even thought about the fact that that was an issue. The first time I had it brought into my consciousness was many years ago. As a lot of you know, I used to own a bakery, but before that, I used to bake with my grandmother all the time, and I used to notice how she would pick up foods or pans or anything that was like super hot, either right out of the oven or something that came right off the stove, and she never seemed to feel the pain in her hands. Well, when I had the bakery, it was the same thing with me. It was actually really bizarre. I could take things right from the oven, not entire cookie trays or anything, but certainly foods right from the oven, certainly hot utensils. I never used oven mitts to pull trays out of the oven. I just used like dish towels, and the heat never seemed to bother my hands. In fact, even now at home when we take things out of the oven, I'm the one who does it because for some reason my hands just, I don't feel the pain. Then the second time it was brought to my attention is when I started running ultras. People used to ask me all the time, like, how do you do it? How do you deal with the pain after all that time? And I know this is gonna sound really weird, but it actually never occurred to me that I was feeling so much pain. Of course you feel pain during the race. It's not that I'm out of my mind. You feel pain, but I think that it got to a point where it reached a level, like a certain level of pain, and then it would not get any worse. So maybe after, 30, 40, 50 miles or, whatever the mileage would be, I would reach sort of this like maximum saturation of pain for my brain or my body. And then after that point, I really would not feel additional pain. I know a lot of runners report a similar kind of sensation. Of course, the days after a very long run or a very long race, I would definitely be in pain. I would definitely be like limping downstairs and all these different things. But For some reason, it never bothered me. In fact, in a lot of cases, I wouldn't necessarily feel that I had accomplished as much as I had set out to accomplish unless I really did feel that pain. The pain for me was an indicator that I had worked hard. It was often an indicator that I deserved praise. It was often an indicator that I really had achieved what I wanted to achieve. So this really got me thinking, even a long time ago, but I just read an article recently on irunfar.com by Andy Jones Wilkins. I'm going to link it below. He cites a study that was done at Monash University in Australia where ultrarunners were tested for their pain tolerance. So basically what they do is they submerge their arm in freezing cold ice water and then they leave their arm there as long as possible. During the time that their arm is submerged, they're asked to report their pain on a scale of 1 to 10. And this happens at different intervals along the however many minutes or seconds they can keep their arm under the water. Well, it's no surprise that ultrarunners were able to keep their arm submerged a significantly longer time than non-ultrarunners. Along the time that their arm was submerged, they reported feeling less pain. I know you're gonna find this shocking, right? Also remember that this study was performed on ultrarunners, but I don't doubt the same type of situation for any endurance athlete, whether it's cycling, climbing, triathlon, whatever. I'm pretty sure that we're all gonna score the same. So of course this really gets me thinking, is this a good part of endurance sports? Or is it a bad part of endurance sports? What does this characteristic mean for me personally, and what might it mean for you? So in the article, Andy Jones Wilkins also talks about pain, not only physical pain, but mental pain. And he extrapolates this research to try to figure out how it fits in the lives of ultrarunners. He talks a lot about the sensation of pain when you're going through a crazy long race, but he also talks about your ability to understand and sense mental pain and how that sort of plays out. I know that my increased pain tolerance can get me through mile 60 of 100K, but what does my increased pain tolerance do for my mental status is really sort of what I'm thinking about. In the article, he says something super interesting. He says, how we address our pain is really a measurement of how we address the volatility in our lives. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, I need to break this down. Let's take the two arms of this. Me personally now, you can try this at home. I certainly don't want to make any assumptions about how you think of these things, but for me, it goes like this. Let's take the high physical pain tolerance. This is awesome for running ultramarathons. As I said before, I can get through 100K distance and I can feel the pain. I know that I'm in pain, but I don't let it get to me. And that's probably a good thing for ultramarathon. But you know what? It's really crappy at gauging my effort level. Meaning that, okay, it's one thing to understand that at the end of a very long race, I've just done something discrete, meaning it's a one-shot deal, it's one race, and I did what I had to do to get to the end of that. There's a lot of physical pain associated, but there was an important goal in mind for that particular race, and I achieved my goal. I crossed the finish line, I am holding, my finisher's plaque or medal or buckle or whatever the heck it is. So it's like, okay, the end justifies the means. But just for your regular old effort level from a regular old training day, the high tolerance for pain doesn't really help. First of all, for me, it doesn't make me able to understand when I'm supposed to back off a little bit. It doesn't make me able to know the difference between gutting it out through a painful training run and maybe just saying, you know what, today's not my day. I probably have pushed myself way too hard, way too often, because my tolerance for pain is so high that I'm like, no, I'm fine. Long term, this high tolerance for pain, for me, sets me up for failure because I'm just going to be continually overdoing it. So it's this quality that's great for a race, but ultimately it leads to my destruction. So then I have to look at the high tolerance for mental pain. This is excellent for turning off voices of doubt during a race, right? It's excellent for turning off voices of doubt or voices that will divert you from your goal, whatever your goal is. For me, it works great. Keeps me focused, keeps me able to complete a task, keeps me able to block out certain other extenuating factors that might somehow take me off course. I'm pretty good at not listening to things telling me to stop. This is also great at pushing me to go on if I lack motivation. It's great for studying, it's great for work, it's great when I had a yard sale last weekend and didn't even feel like dealing with it. It's that thing that kind of keeps you pushing and it keeps you blocking out the sort of naysaying voices in your head. It's also the same thing that makes me deny myself rest when I need it. It's the thing that makes me deny that I need maybe more care for myself when I do. Essentially, it's the intuition that I ignored. It was the thing that made it easy for me to cut all the starches out of my diet and think that was a good idea. High tolerance for mental pain is also what ultimately stopped me from looking deeper into what was causing my amenorrhea and allowed me to feel crappy about it because I can withstand the sadness. Is this probably my personal problem with pain tolerance? Maybe, but maybe you can see yourself in here too. Like, is there a biological advantage to this? Am I actually doing better that I have a high pain tolerance? Please tell me this is a good thing. In terms of the biological advantage, there is no biological advantage to having a high pain tolerance. In fact, quite the opposite is true. The opposite extreme is something called congenital insensitivity to pain, CIP. This is a rare condition where a person can actually not feel pain. And even if they can't feel pain, they do not react to it. You can imagine what kind of problems this brings about. People end up biting off the end of their tongue. They end up with corneal abrasions because they can't feel when something's like bothering their eye, and a million other problems. Fun fact, no one really knows what causes CIP, but they think that it's related to a very, very high amount of endorphins in the bloodstream. I'm not suggesting a correlation between runner's high and high pain tolerance. I'm just saying, that the ways in which endorphins negate the feelings of pain are very well researched. It makes me wonder that after years and years and years of a huge dose of endorphins coursing through my system all the time from so much running, obviously I'm avoiding physical pain with that, but how much mental pain am I avoiding with that? And for me, that mental pain makes me think intuition. How much of my intuition was I ignoring all during that time? There's a purpose to this pain. We need this pain. Why? I read something amazing that kind of drives this home for me, and I want you to think of this and repeat it to yourself. Because the purpose of pain is to promote healing. Say it again with me. The purpose of pain is to promote healing. Isn't that amazing? That completely blew my mind. We humans do better when we can sense when we are in distress, physically or mentally, because it gives us the opportunity to stop, think, reassess, and do something else. We are actually conditioned to avoid pain as humans. We are better off when we can avoid pain because it actually increases our chances of living longer when we do. How many times do you think we can ram our own heads into a wall before we're gonna have a problem? Seems kind of funny, right? But think about it for a second. Think about everybody out there right now who is trying to recover from amenorrhea or trying to recover from maybe overtraining syndrome, yet you keep running. You're trying to recover from amenorrhea, but you're still restricting calories. You're going straight into the pain over and over and over again instead of stopping, listening, reassessing, and moving in another direction. I'm laughing because this was me year after year after year. Just go right into the pain over and over and over again because either I didn't feel it or I didn't react to it. Just like that person with CIP. Okay, not that bad, but I'm just saying, I never bit my own tongue off. Not once. Although I probably should have. Maybe that would have gotten me to stop. So now I have to tell you, I am all about observing the pain, seeing the pain, being okay with feeling it, and then giving myself the opportunity to do something about it. It means less running when I'm feeling achy and tired. These days I don't really have access to trails, so I'm constantly running on pavement. My body doesn't love this, so maybe some days I have to walk instead of run just because that's the right thing to do. I don't want to feel the pain of hunger, irritability, cranky bitchness, or just like general foul mood anymore. Like, I don't have tolerance for that pain anymore, so I do something about it, which usually means shoving something into my mouth. I do a lot more checking in with myself. If you're anything like me, you go down that rabbit hole of martyrdom. I'm fine, it's fine, everything's fine. Like, you love to kind of like be in pain from stuff. Like, take things away from me. I can be sad, it's okay. I can run 5 more miles, it's fine. Like, all of these things become tolerable after a while, and that is the problem. So I do a lot more checking in with myself to make sure that I'm not doing that. I don't get points at the end of the day for having sucked it up more than anyone else. So it's important for me to pay attention to these things. When it comes right down to it, I used to be proud of my high pain tolerance, just like I used to be proud of a lot of stupid things, like maybe my type A personality, and we all know what I think of that. So this is just another one of those things that I'm learning about that I really thought deserved a second look. I encourage you to take a look at your own life in your physical and mental status and see how much pain you avoid. or you need such a high amount of it that nothing phases you until it gets too far. I mean, think about how this fits into your own life. Remember, I am never, ever trying to tell you not to be an endurance athlete or not to be an ultra runner or not to do any of the things that you can do if you can do them healthfully. If you can, awesome. Keep doing it and teach me how. But if you're not healthy right now, which I'm guessing might be the case since you're watching this channel, take a look at not just, of course it's the adjustment of the calories and the amount of exercise that you're doing, but you gotta look inside too. And this type of stuff, these types of little things, pain tolerance, type A personality, all these other things, compassion that we talk about, these are the little kind of like little sticking points that over time are really gonna help you get toward your goal of being healthy, and not just healthy for now, healthy long term. I should mention that it's the end of August and I did not meet my goal of 1,000 subscribers, but that is okay. I know I'll get there someday. When I do, there will be the live Q&A here on YouTube and also the giveaway on Instagram. I haven't forgotten about that. I hope you have a great start to your week, and don't forget to head over to acaseofthejills.com. Check out the ebook of FAQs available now, and I'll see you soon.